Call the meeting to order. This is the City Commission meeting, Monday, December 18th, 2023. The time is now 5:30 p.m. If you'd please rise for the invocation and the pledge. Heavenly Father, we ask that you watch over this group tonight and that you help us make good decisions for the city of Leesburg. We do this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item 2, proclamations. We have none. Item 3 is presentations, and we have one.
We have one presentation, about 18 minutes long. The presentation regards the State of the City address. I would say now for about the past 10 years, Sandy Moore has asked me to do a State of the City address to the Chamber of Commerce on every December, third Thursday of December every month, every year, every month. Every month we do a State of the City, yeah. But in essence, I got a call from Dr. Anna Marie probably a week or so ago, and I think she was expecting me to say no. But she called me with the concept of, why don't we do a video presentation like the county did? And she sent me the county presentation. I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. And so when I called Dr. Anna Marie back and said yes, well, actually, she was in my office. So I actually witnessed her fall on the floor when I said yes. And I said, but we can do it real quick. We can get it together. And sure enough, we did. And in fact, we did it a couple days ahead. So we thought this evening would be a good time to tee it off so the commission could see it. So everybody who's sitting here, there's nothing that we do that is outside the sunshine, obviously, with except a few exclusions. But everybody has to sign a waiver tonight. You can't talk about this production until Thursday. Obviously, I'm kidding. But without further ado, Mr. Andrews, if you queued up.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mayor Jimmy Burry. It's been an honor serving Leesburg as an elected official, but it's truly been a distinct pleasure serving Leesburg as mayor in 2023. Much has been accomplished this year and much more work lies ahead. But before we move forward, I wanted to take this opportunity to revisit just a few of the highlights from 2023. So on behalf of the Leesburg City Commission, I'm proud to present this 2023 State of the City report.
It has been a year of transition for Leesburg as we have closed the door on nearly 10 years of progress and have begun setting the stage to ensure that Leesburg remains one of the best places to live, work, and play in the state of Florida. In 2023, the city of Leesburg has managed a number of complex issues, planned for the future, used public resources wisely, and is set to capitalize on opportunities which were planted with seeds from previous years.
I think if you had one word to wrap up 2023, that word would be year of transition. 10 years now being the city manager of the city of Leesburg, a lot of different things have been accomplished, and this year probably marks the first influence of a brand new commission on the agenda. In previous years, the commission was very aggressive about tackling quality of life issues, financial issues, and fiduciary issues. But then we accomplished a lot of things too, like the Venetian Center, like the Aquatic Center, the Teen Center, the Outreach Center. And then we can't be remiss to say the deal with the villages that I think is really a catalyst for a lot of the growth that we're seeing now. So now with the new commission on board, especially with the additions of Commissioner Berry and Commissioner Reisman, we've worked the last year to iron out and kind of, I think, get to know each other and come up with new goals. And so what you see in 23 is kind of a changing of the guard, finishing up some of those old projects and putting out a list of new agendas. And that's why it's a year of transition. 2023 has also been a year that the City Commission focused on removing blight and redevelopment. I think sometimes blight and redevelopment get overlooked, but there's a key element in community redevelopment, and there's a big effort underway to ensure that everybody in Leesburg is successful.
One of the most significant issues impacting Leesburg is managing growth. While growth can be complicated, managing this issue indicates that the economy around the Leesburg region is vibrant and strong. In preparation to handle the many subdivisions planned in the State Road 44 and South US 27 corridors, Leesburg has achieved a few major accomplishments this year. To begin, the city issued a $40 million banknote and broke ground on a project that will expand the capacity of the Turnpike wastewater treatment facility from 4.5 million gallons per day to 6 million gallons per day. The project seeks to provide enough treatment capacity to handle impending growth needs for the next 10 to 15 years. Not only is the city prepared to handle more treatment requirements, but the Commission formed a partnership with NVR Homes to shift the financial burden of construction of a major sewer bypass system, which will run from South Leesburg to the Turnpike facility, providing the collection needed to develop South Leesburg. This agreement ultimately ensures that the cost of the development is paid for by the developers and not existing ratepayers.
It's an exciting time for Public Works. The City of Leesburg is experiencing unprecedented growth, and as such, Public Works is designing and constructing the infrastructure necessary to facilitate and sustain that growth. While our utilities are taking the spotlight, Public Works is so much more than utilities. This growth affects all of our divisions, and we are doing the necessary planning and preparation to make sure that the City of Leesburg Public Works Department continues to deliver world-class service to all current and future residents.
On that note, the city is proud to share we are constructing new water distribution mains, a 1 million gallon water storage tank, and working with the St. Johns River Water Management District to expand the city's consumptive use permit. 2023 also saw the partnership that was formed between the city and the villages come to fruition. In late 2017, the city formally closed on an agreement with the villages to develop the villages of Westlake on approximately 1,500 acres of property formerly owned by the city.
The City of Leesburg continues moving forward with residential and commercial growth opportunities at a rapid pace. The city has carefully planned future growth and development using annexation, land use amendments, and planned zoning along the major corridors of US 27-441, County Road 44, and County Road 470. And those end up in annexations, including 9 cases just in fiscal year 2023 alone. That amounted to about 490 acres. We've had 19 large-scale comprehensive plan amendments, 17 planned unit development cases, and between all those, it created right around a bit over 11,000 dwelling units for opportunities for future growth. In commercial space, we've got approximately 2.5 million square feet, and then in industrial space, those cases it represented about 611,000 square feet of industrial space. Within the office space category, we're going to have about 1.6 million square feet that are possible, and 1.5 million in institutional space. So in essence, the city is growing at a pace that has never been seen before in the history of the city of Leesburg.
By the end of the year, over 3,200 new villages' homes will be part of Leesburg, providing new jobs, additional commerce, and nearly $1 billion of new investment into the Leesburg and Lake County region. Economic development efforts expand beyond managing community development. The City Commission and Airport Advisory Board have continued to leverage the Leesburg International Airport as a hub for transportation and business development. With grant assistance from the Florida Department of Transportation, the city completed a $2 million main apron project, which makes the airport more user-friendly to existing businesses like Firehawk and Sun Air, while helping airport operations for visitors and pilots that call Leesburg home base.
Hi, I'm Tracy, and we're here at Leesburg International Airport. I'm manager of this general aviation airport, which is home to 130 based aircraft, helicopters, and private jets. Leesburg also sees quite a lot of business jet travel. In fiscal year 2023, there were more than 100,000 takeoffs and landings, which is an increase of about 30% over recent years. There is a huge demand for hangars in the state of Florida. Leesburg has multiple hangar buildings that are fully designed, and the airport has already secured partial grant funding towards construction. Additionally, an upgraded self-serve fuel facility is being designed, which will incorporate convenient amenities for the flying public.
The Leesburg International Airport also completed a major renovation of the main runway with $5 million in grant assistance from the FAA. And in an effort to promote commerce and economic development, a 10-acre parcel located at the intersection of 441 and College Drive is now under contract with Blue Rock Development, which will promote new commercial development in this rapidly developing eastern corridor of Leesburg. In fact, the 441 corridor also saw the investment from the very popular Chick-fil-A restaurant, as efforts are now underway to open the popular chain near Radio Road. Leesburg is very proud to be identified as one of Florida's 37 public power communities. To ensure that the premises of local ownership and local control flourishes in Leesburg, the electric department worked hard against many market forces to keep your energy rates low.
My name is Brad Chase. I'm the electric director here at the City of Leesburg. One of the things we pride ourselves on is getting lights back on to our customers. When we have major events like a tropical storm, we bring everybody in that we can to focus on, assess, and start the restoration process. And historically, what we found is we're able to get the lights back on quicker and safer than our neighbors in the investor-owned utilities. Looking to the future, we have had about 300 of our customers install rooftop solar arrays to help defray some of the cost of providing energy to their homes. From the utility perspective, we're partnering with Florida Municipal Power Agency. In 2025, we'll bring about 18 megawatts of our 100 megawatt load to the city will be sourced from those solar arrays.
Through our partnership with the Florida Municipal Power Agency, the power cost adjustment was dropped twice during 2023, and Leesburg now boasts some of the area's most competitive electric rates. Not only that, Leesburg also formed a new electric advisory board to ensure that all customers of Leesburg Electric will have a voice in how our public utility is operated. The amount of issues the city tackles can be mind-boggling, and sometimes managing the day-to-day does not get enough attention. So this year, we again wish to thank our public safety departments at the Leesburg Police and Fire for ensuring that our citizens and visitors stay safe.
2023 has been a great year for the Leesburg Fire Department. Aside from maintaining our highly proficient level of emergency response, we've had our training division aggressively working to train and prepare our firefighters for the challenges they might face in the future. We've also been working collaboratively with our partners at the county and with the medical directors to reduce the number of unnecessary responses to medical facilities for non-life-threatening complaints. This will serve to increase our fire units' availability and thereby prepare us to respond to emergencies more effectively.
2023 was a special year for us at the Leesburg Police Department as we celebrated our 100th anniversary. Additionally, our agency earned yet another reaccreditation from the state, enhancing our commitment to excellence in law enforcement. With 2024 on the horizon, we look towards growth. This year, we were able to add police service aides and crime scene investigators to our ranks to better serve our citizens. With the expected growth throughout the city, we'll be looking not only to add more sworn police officers, but civilian staff as well. These positions are needed to maintain the high quality of service provided by the Leesburg Police Department. As we approach 2024, we're eager to continue our partnership with the community in creating a Leesburg that is safer and stronger.
Performing the amount of service-oriented objectives that municipal corporations do requires earning the respect of its citizenry by being good stewards of public funds. 2023 continued Leesburg's proud tradition of being a good fiduciary. Leesburg continues to be recognized for its exemplary financial reporting, and over the past 10 years can show that assets in almost every fund have steadily increased. For example, the general fund reserve has increased at an average of 5% per year.
This year, one of our biggest achievements was the lowering of the millage rate. And that millage rate is lower than any time since the 1980s, and that's a big achievement. Our taxable value has increased over the last 6 years from 1.1 billion to 2.5 billion, and that allows us to do some really good projects for this city, and you'll see those taking place and in action out there under construction right now.
The year 2023 also experienced the city's commitment to redevelopment. Along Pine Street, the historic African American business community not only received the investment of the H.O. Dabney Aquatic Facility, but this year the Pine Street Streetscape project got underway. This $3.5 million project, funded with American Recovery Grant funds, seeks to increase the patronage of this historic corridor with the investment of wider sidewalks, historic lighting, and additional parking.
We're really excited about some of the programs that we have going on, namely the Home Improvement Grant Program, where we partner with Habitat of Lake Sumter and Lake Community Action Agency to bring additional funding in addition to what the City Commission has allocated, which is $300,000 for home improvements in the Carver Heights Montclair CRA. And that program will allow us to make improvements to those homes, homes that have, they're older homes, so they need some improvements with weatherization, doors, windows, facade improvements, and it will help us to make improvements in that area.
In downtown Leesburg, the city made a few traffic modifications to enhance pedestrian safety, is completing a parking study, and experienced new private investment renovation efforts with the usage of the newly created Historic Downtown Building Redevelopment Grant. And this report would not be complete if it did not talk about a major development in the way in which Leesburg is promoting itself as the lakefront city. The City Commission is investing in sports tourism by planning major renovations to the Susan Street Park. Now in design, the city seeks to recreate Susan Street Park to entice sports tourism through the use of state-of-the-art rectangle sports facilities. With nearly $2 million in grant assistance from Lake County, this concept will focus on developing a sports complex for football, soccer, lacrosse, and rugby at Susan Street, and developing a gateway entry to this facility from US 27.
2023 was a very eventful and successful year for the Recreation Department. Recreation program participation increased by 15% over 2022, with basketball and soccer breaking records for participation. Leesburg's H.O. Dabney Aquatic Center and the Venetian Center continue to thrive. 362 participants completed swim lessons, along with over 21,000 visitors to the Aquatic Center. The Venetian Center had 1,810 reservations, with over 287,000 visitors in 2023. Sports tourism is booming in Leesburg, as we hosted 13 fishing tournaments from the likes of Bassmasters, Major League Fishing, and Florida Bass Nation. Softball continues to be all the rage at Sleepy Hollow. We hosted over 30 softball and baseball events, including a partnership with the Spring Games that brought 2 weekends of NCAA Division I softball and a full month of NCAA Division III softball to Leesburg. All told, these events brought in over $15 million in economic impact to the city of Leesburg.
And in Venetian Gardens, the marina will also see improvements with the construction of a new marina facility and adding wet slips. These projects primarily use grant money such as Lake County Tourist Development Council dollars and allocations from the American Recovery Act. Also, in regards to marketing Leesburg, this year, the City Commission created the Events Division of the Recreation Department and hired a new events manager so that new events and marquee events like Bike Fest will continue to promote our residents and tourists alike.
I'm Maggie Leiden, Special Events Manager for the City of Leesburg. I am thrilled to utilize my creativity and bring exciting, creative, and family-friendly events to the lakefront city in an effort to foster a sense of community amongst residents and entice people from all over Central Florida to visit Leesburg.
Stay connected with your local government and your community by following the City of Leesburg's Lakefront TV, the city's media outlet for everything you need to know in our lakefront city. Our 24/7 channel is available on Xfinity 22, Spectrum 497, or download our channel on Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, or Roku, or simply log on to lakefronttv.com. Also, be sure to follow us on all our social media platforms. Lakefront TV is here for you, wherever you are.
As you can see, 2023 has been a busy and successful year. The building blocks are set in place to continue Leesburg's growth and accomplishments into 2024. So I'm anxious to return to work next year with my colleagues. On behalf of the City Commission, the City Manager, and Leesburg staff, I wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas and a joyful, prosperous New Year. And to close off 2023, I'm proud to report that the state of our beautiful lakefront city, the city of Leesburg, Florida, remains strong.
So there's Dr. Anna Marie. Come on.
And thanks to all the department head for pulling together quickly and making it happen. So, thank you. Is that online now?
There was a question in the audience, is it online? It is not online now. We will get it online after Thursday. So that's why everybody has to be this was secret. And, well, I already did. The chamber, so we're officially airing it again at the chamber breakfast. So, but actually, in all honesty, Dr. Anna Marie and I were pretty excited about how that came off, and we wanted to show the commission before we unveiled it on Thursday. So, sorry, Sandy. We preempted you.
All right. We'll move on now to item 4, which is public comments. This section is reserved for members of the public to bring up matters of concern or opportunities for praise. Issues brought up will not be discussed in detail at this meeting. Issues will either be referred to the proper staff or will be scheduled for consideration at a future City Commission meeting. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. If you'd please give your name and your address when you come to the microphone. Any public comment?
Thank you for your time. Judith Martucci, 721 Timbercrest Drive, Leesburg, Florida. This is regarding traffic safety issues that should be taken into account when approving the development on Route 44 between Whitney Road and the Lake County line. The current speed limit on 44 at this point is 55 miles per hour, but due to the distance between traffic calming devices of any sort, it travels at least 65 to 70 miles an hour. There are no stop signs or traffic lights between the intersection of County Road 468 and State Road 44 until Morse Boulevard in Sumter County, a distance of 3.6 miles. These developments will have 3 or 4 exits onto 44 within a short distance, with no established plan for traffic calming announced to the public at this point in time. If all development is approved and each unit has 1 vehicle accessing 44 daily, that is approximately a minimum of 2,700 additional cars daily accessing 44 in that area. At the very least, there should be a reduction in the speed and at least, in the best case scenario, a traffic light installed where the 2 opposite access points will become a crossroads intersection. The Department of Transportation should permanently reduce the speed limit at beginning of construction for the safety of everyone using this safety segment of 44. Development and accepting new residents into the area is fine, but needs to be planned for from every aspect of impact on the area. Safety for current and future residents should be a major part of the plan and a responsibility contingent upon approval of future development. Incurred costs for improvement should at least partially come some from the developer's responsibility. In addition, there is already an approved site on south side of 44 on Whitney Road, an amusement complex with entertainment for all ages plus food and establishment. This will add even more traffic to this section of 44. Currently turning right onto Whitney Road from either direction, there are no right-hand turn access lanes to clear the turning vehicles from traffic that is moving at a speed of 55 minimum. Another major safety issue. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Folks, if there's any more comments in regard to the Twin Palms 44 We are going to discuss that tonight. This is time for things that are not on the agenda. So if you have items that are not related to that, please come up.
My name's Joe Fuller. My address is 33502 Pembroke Parkway. My concern has to deal with your new development, but I'm looking at it at a different point of view than Judy did. I'm looking at it from fire and EMS safety in that regard. With your new plans for the other side of 44, which would be the city of Leesburg, my question would be to your group is who is going to provide EMS and fire coverage for that at completion and even during construction? At this time, on the other side of the highway, we have Lake County that provides Pembroke Fairways with fire and EMS coverage. Now, will the Leesburg Fire Department be providing that service for the 44 new build? And will Lake County be providing EMS service to that side of the highway, or will the Leesburg Fire Department be handling that also? In addition, off of Whitney Road is Lewis Road, and then there's the Lake County Fire Station 59. Directly across the road is a development that has gone and stopped at this point in time after all the infrastructure was put in. The name of that would be Terra Oaks, and I understand that that is a city of Leesburg. It started to be a development within your jurisdiction, and my concern would be eventually that's going to get turned back on, and will the Leesburg Fire Department be providing the proper services for that, or will there be a mutual agreement between Lake County as well as the Leesburg Fire Department? And along with all of these new growths, which are great, I might add, but I haven't heard anything about fire and safety and this kind of thing brought out, and I'm especially concerned with the EMS coverage. The other thing I would have is, I've heard the word villages. Will the villages be also involved with fire and EMS coverage for any of these developments that you're working on at this point in time, or is that not part of the plan yet? And that's what I have, and I'd like to know what the answer might be, or if it's being worked. And I know you can't give the answer right now, and I appreciate that. But these are concerns that need to be addressed at the proper time.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So are there any public comments outside of the Twin Palms development? We will discuss those issues tonight, but this is the opportunity for other public comments. So do we have any public comment? Okay. Move on now to the consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. If the commission or staff wish to discuss any item, the procedure is as follows. Pull the items from the consent agenda, vote on remaining items with one roll call vote, discuss each pulled item, and vote by roll call. Is there any items anyone would like to pull?
5B3.
5B3.
5B2.
5B2. Anything else? We'll get a motion for
I'll make a motion to approve all remaining items.
Second. Roll call.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Eastman?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Someone please introduce 5B2.
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute Amendment 1 to Professional Design Services Agreement with Half Associates, Inc., and providing an effective date.
Move for approval.
Second. Discussion.
I had a couple questions. I know this got brought up maybe a month ago. Have we spoke with the owners of the property we're going to need to get an easement from, and do we have a verbal agreement and what they would want to charge us for these easements?
We have not spoken to them yet. Part of that is some of the design concepts we want to bring through them. So we're working both of these the same way. Ultimately, if we don't go off of 27, then the full amount of the change order won't be spent.
But I guess where I'm confused or concerned is we have no conceptual plan at all of what they're even proposing?
We have no conceptual plan other than what's drawn. And so we're in the process of trying to get the approvals and trying to get design going. So we're working it at the same time, Commissioner.
So we want to spend $132,000 and we don't even know if we can get the easements, or if if they agree what they're going to want to provide us an easement?
We will only spend the $132,000 if we get the easements.
So not a dollar of that will be spent?
I'm not going to say not a dollar that will be spent, Commissioner, but I'm going to say the lion's share of that money will only be expended if we design an ultimate entry from 27.
Why don't we secure the easements first, then pay for the design?
Because we need to do it both at the same time.
I don't agree with that. I just don't think you start spending that kind of money when you don't even know you can secure the easements, and if you can even afford to pay for them for what they want for us to use them. I just think that's getting ahead of ourselves.
Understand your comment. At the end of the day, we have about an $8 million budget for the project. This engineering addition probably makes engineering about 10% of the total scope. And at the end of the day, our goal is not to exceed the $8 million. So if we've got to spend a couple, the extra $100,000 on engineering, potentially, what we'll do at the end of the day is we'll scale back some of the other concepts in the park. I think that the ingress off of 27 is probably primary. So if that puts us over the edge, then we'll start trimming back field improvements and piecemealing it inside the park.
I think it's a good idea to have access off there, but I just don't see spending any money until we know we can even get the easements and we can afford the easements. And as far as the design, once you get them back there, how do they get into the parking lot?
We showed you that picture this evening. That comes off of 27, I think is that the Pizza Hut and the Bell's parking lot, goes into the back, and then it turns kind of to the north where the racquetball courts are now.
A lot of open space in the racquetball. That's where the current parking will be.
So you're going to bring them in off the end of there, the part that does not have the intersection on it?
The entryway would be about across the street from the McDonald's, going between the Bells and the McDonald's, between the Bells and the Pizza Hut. Then when you kind of get into the park, you'll take a right turn
to the north of that.
And the major parking lot will be up about where the racquetball courts are.
Well, I guess the other thing that I'm concerned is about if you were to get a large crowd, that's a lot of vehicles trying to come out of there and get back onto 27 with at a non-intersection.
Hence the reason for the engineering commissioner.
And you do have a light at the Bell's Plaza.
On the other side, if they drive through the whole parking lot, and I doubt the parking lot wants that either. I just think.
I disagree. I think the parking lot probably wants more traffic coming through.
I just think we should secure to make sure we can even get the easements and what the easements would cost before we spend any money on the engineering. I just think that's reasonable.
Any other comments?
Excuse me.
Roll call.
Commissioner Eastman?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Cunnell?
No.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Will someone please introduce 5B3?
I'll introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Purchase request by the Recreation Department for the splash pad flooring replacement.
Move for approval.
Second. Discussion.
I pulled this because of some verbiage from Grant.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner. The only issue I wanted to highlight on this particular item was that there were a couple of the terms and conditions in the contract language that we wanted to sort of work out with the contractor. They were reached out to today and expressed openness to sort of accepting some changes on the things that we were looking at. So the suggestion I would have is if the commission's inclined to approve this, that a motion be made to approve subject to resolution of the contract terms and conditions by the city manager and the city attorney. And just to sort of flesh that out a little bit more, particularly concerning were sort of venue provisions, governing law provisions, some common things that people work on when you're dealing with out-of-state contractors and that kind of thing. So again, they've expressed openness to making some modifications to the contract language. We just weren't able to iron that out before tonight. So again, if the commission's inclined to approve, my recommendation would be to approve subject to resolution of those contract terms and conditions by the city manager and the city attorney.
Do I have a motion for that? So moved. Any discussion on that motion? Roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Eastman?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. Do we now need to approve it, Grant, or is that?
The original?
Yeah. Well, we had motion to approve subject to the so we're good. Yeah, we're good on that. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Let's see. So where are we? That's all the resolutions. Let's move on to public hearings and non-routine items. Second reading of ordinances, we have none. First reading, would someone please introduce 6B, 1, 2, and 3? And I'd just like to say before we do that, I understand there's going to be a lot of people tonight that want to speak. But if you could please, if you're going to say the same thing that the person in front of you just said, if you could please refrain from that. We do want to hear your concerns. We just don't want to hear the same concern over and over. Again, this is a first reading for those of you who don't come to these normally. First reading is just an opportunity for everyone to kind of hear about it. There will be a second reading where we will actually vote on whether to bring these in, to change the comp plan, to approve the PUD, those things. So this is not the final decision tonight. This is simply the first nibble at seeing what's being proposed. Okay?
I'll introduce 6B, 1, 2, and 3 to be read by title only.
6B1, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, annexing certain real property consisting of approximately 316 plus minus acres, being generally located south of State Road 44 and west of Whitney Road, lying in sections 19 and 30, Township 19 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida. Providing that said property so annexed shall be liable for its proportionate share of the existing and future indebtedness of said city. Providing that such annexed property shall be subject to all laws and ordinances of said city, as if all such territory had been a part of the City of Leesburg at the time of passage and approval of said laws and ordinances. Providing that such annexed territory shall be placed in City Commission District 2 and providing an effective date. 6B2, an ordinance amending the future land use map of the comprehensive plan of the City of Leesburg, changing the future land use map designation of certain property containing 316 plus minus acres from Lake County Rural and Regional Office to City of Leesburg Neighborhood Mixed Use for a property generally located south of State Road 44 and west of Whitney Road, lying in sections 19 and 30, Township 19 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date. 6B3, an ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, changing the zoning on approximately 316 plus minus acres from Lake County A Agriculture to MP Planned Industrial to City of Leesburg PUD Planned Unit Development to allow mixed-use development, including single-family, duplex, multifamily, and townhouse residential units, commercial, medical, professional office, and a hotel for a property generally located south of State Road 44 and west of Whitney Road, lying in sections 19 and 30, Township 19 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Thank you, Andy. Because we have such a large gathering tonight, I'm going to ask Grant to swear anyone who's going to offer testimony Go ahead, Grant.
Sir, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anybody who's here this evening to provide any testimony on item 6B3, Village Palms rezoning, if you would please stand and raise your right hand so you could be sworn in. So if you intend to testify about this development, now would be the time to stand up so you could be sworn in and testify.
Anyone's going to come to the microphone?
Okay. Do you swear or affirm that all testimony you'll give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dan, if you'd please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening. My name's Dan Miller, Planning and Zoning Director for the City of Leesburg. Tonight we're looking at the first reading for the Village Palms holding. I want to go ahead and announce that the plan for the second reading is February 12, so that we'll know that. This is a request for annexation, large-scale comp plan amendment and rezoning. Property is located south of State Road 44 and west of Whitney Road, just east of the Sumter County line. It includes, the overall proposal includes 316 acres, currently mostly undeveloped. The large-scale comp plan request will take the land from Lake County Rural and Regional Office to City of Leesburg Neighborhood Mixed Use. The rezoning would take the land from Lake County Agriculture to City of Leesburg Planned Unit Development. Within that planned unit development, the zoning would allow for 562 detached single-family lots, 264 townhouse units, 134 duplex units, approximately 300 multifamily units, 130,000 square feet of commercial uses, 42,000 square feet of medical professional offices, and potentially a hotel of approximately 120 rooms. That gives you about 1,260 total residential units. Those residential units, again, would be single-family detached, single-family attached, which is generally considered townhouses, villas, which is another way of saying a duplex, and then multifamily units. Within the commercial areas, the permitted uses would be medical, pharmacies, urgent care, veterinary, and then general retail. That includes coffee shops, restaurants, daycare, fitness centers, personal services, and of course the hotel and houses of worship, and professional offices. We have a list of prohibited uses that would include auto sales, tattoo parlors, check cashing stores, adult uses, internet cafes, pawn shops, those types of uses. The single-family attached development would consist of a mix of lot sizes, 50, 60, and 70 feet in width each. 25-foot front setbacks, the standard gutter requirements that we have. We also have something we use called dark sky lighting, which is, I know the commission knows, but that references having any type of lighting for residential or commercial uses being sheltered and shaded and directed onto the property it's directed to, so it does not bleed off. There are architectural standards required, garages required. On the commercial side, again, 130,000 commercial development square feet. That would be along the northern side of the property adjacent to State Road 44. 42,000 square feet of medical and professional office, and of course a space, if a hotelier were to come in, would there be a space for that? There's also potential space for a private school on the property. Again, all development in this PUD has architectural standards required. We're also noting additional guest parking at the end of a number of blocks on the residential areas. Standard 35% minimum open space, which they will exceed, as you can see in the site plan. There's a minimum 25-foot buffer surrounding the exterior boundary of the property and fencing on the southern and eastern boundary. What they're proposing are 3 access points along State Road 44. These are all boulevard-type roadways, and for the benefit of the public, Mr. Mayor, the boulevard-type roadway has a wider lane and a landscaped median, usually 8 to 10 feet wide, something like that. That allows for emergency access. If one lane is blocked, they can still get within that one lane around any cars that may be there. Those three primary roads then flow southward into an east-west main connector roadway. All three of those will show roundabouts that are within the subdivision, not on the public roads, but within, to keep the traffic flowing within there so it's not backing up. We anticipate, because of the size of this development, I can't make a guarantee because it's not a city decision, but it's actually FDOT decision, but we would anticipate at a new stoplight coming in at some point as the development progresses. For recreation, there are at least 6 acres within this development that are required on 3 separate primary recreational areas. Those areas include swimming pools, dog parks, playgrounds for children, trail system within each neighborhood that interconnects to the whole system, and that's shown on Exhibit C on the site plan. The remaining requirements are the standard PUD language requirements that we use. That includes protection for all wetlands, making sure that the flood zones are taken care of and that water cannot flow off onto adjacent properties. All that has to be engineered. And we've been using that language for a long time and been very successful with all our new developments. Lake County, we have been working with Lake County and FDOT as it is their road, so the city always works with them and sends them all the information. Their normal requirements are additional turn lanes and often, I should say, turn lanes, potential signalization, and they always require whatever right-of-way is necessary to allow that. It was mentioned earlier about a potential reduction in the speed limit. That would not be a surprise at all. It'd probably be a very good idea. We have also worked with the school board on this. They have noted that this is a situation where a proportionate share mitigation agreement would likely be required. For the benefit of the public, this is a form of mitigation in which the developer agrees to make a direct cash payment based on negotiations with the school board that will provide for the necessary student stations. And those have to be paid and come online prior to the students living in the home. This is a significant payment. The last one that came through this, as all those proportionate share agreements have to come to City Commission, the last one was several $1 million. And it was a third of the size of this development. So we would expect this to be a significant agreement. Mr. Mike Rankin with Land Planning Group of Mount Dora is here, and I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Dan? Any questions for Mike?
Really just one general question. You probably know what it is. You deem the parking to be adequate throughout the multifamily, the duplex?
Yes, sir.
I heard you say extra parking in the roads or something.
That is correct. Thank you for that question. Deputy Director Candy Harper and I met with the applicant in early stages, and we noted to them that this body has been asking for additional parking on all our new neighborhoods within the duplex and the multifamily areas. They have carved out areas toward the end of the block, which we've done in other developments, to bring in additional parking.
Okay, thank you, Dan.
Yes, sir.
Dan, you might also tell the public the roads will be built to...
Every road within this development has to be built to the City of Leesburg standards. It potentially can be turned over to the city, but they're not necessarily turned over to the city. Even if they are not turned over to the city, just to build them, they have to be built to the city standards in any case. No exceptions.
And we got some trees in the yard?
Yes, sir. There are. This has got a lot of open space in there and a lot of trees, and sometimes the trees luckily rolled along the boundaries of the property. Right. And we're working with the developer. Where there are not trees, there will have to be fences, and where there is a thick tree cover that can provide a natural buffer, then we will be utilizing that. In any case, there's a minimum 25-foot natural buffer all the way around. Where there's no trees, there's a fence. Where there are trees, we're okay with that. On the, I believe it's the eastern side, there's
I want to say it's a couple of 100 feet because there's some power line easements that go down there.
Yes.
So there's going to be nothing on that side.
Search it. Any other questions?
I just want to clarify, it's been said a couple times, I mean, the commission knows this, I just want to be sure, 100% sure the audience knows that the state controls the red lights, the traffic lights, and the speed limits. I just want to be sure they're crystal clear on that.
Yes, sir.
That's a common question.
The state does control it because that area of 44, which rolls straight into Main Street here, is controlled by the state, and the city does not have any actual jurisdiction on it. However, we send this information, everything that we have here in the application, in the site plan, in the number of trips, everything that we've already reviewed is going, plus the traffic study, does go to the state, and we will be asking for a light there. We can't tell them we have to have a light as much as we wish we could, but we will be asking them for that.
Okay. Thank you, Dan.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments for Dan? Any comments from Mike?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the commission, audience, and staff. First and foremost, ahead of this project, Merry Christmas to everybody. In the fact that this is first read, I'm going to yield my time for our full presentation to the traditional second read. We will be able to answer the questions I'm assuming I will be hearing, as well as the two questions that were raised just a few minutes ago. Thank you.
And now we'll offer public comment. We had somebody that stood up and was sworn in. There's only a couple that stood up. Right? This lady right here and that guy.
Hi, I'm Beth Reed. I live at 432 Glen Arbor Lane, Leesburg, within Pembroke Fairways. And my concern is multiple things. How come there are no entrances on Whitney instead of throwing all the traffic onto 44? Have you ever shopped at Publix Lake Deaton? Have you noticed the car wreck trash in the middle of the road? Yes, you don't have control over the road because it's a state road, but somebody's got to change that. Have you listened to them racing up and down 44 on Saturday and Sunday nights? I live right on, I overlook 44. I'm going to get the gist of both of these developments, last year's and this year's. What can we do next year? So traffic is a real problem. School kids, school buses, school teachers. Where are you going to put these people? How are you going to educate them? The state's already thousands of teachers short, and they're using people who are not skilled and not trained well. What are you thinking? Safety services. I bet you're short on police. Almost everybody is, and firemen. Well, and the EMS, we know the EMS is short. You've got all of this extra traffic from the villages down in South Leesburg coming up, whether they come up 27 or come up Morse, which used to be 501. They're all there, and the increase of traffic on 44 is amazing. I'm not sure the traffic studies are accurate. I think you need to do more of them. I think you need to really step back and look at the traffic and the traffic patterns you're proposing in light of what you're going to approve the next time you annex the next open land. What are we going to do in Leesburg for open land if you build on all of it? And mostly my background is in education, so mostly I worry about the schools And so the developer pays a whole bunch of money, and there's space available for a private school on the land. Who's going to make him build that school and staff it appropriately? It's just like the 3 medical arts buildings that you approved last year. Who's going to staff those? You're going to stick me, when I'm old and semi-senile, in a place that's understaffed. I think the planning needs to go deeper. The thought process in the planning needs to go deeper than it has. And I'm asking you to step back and not approve this in a great rush and look at it not with just 2023 eyes, but 2033 eyes, and see what you're going to be leaving behind you as a legacy. Will it be really worth what you're doing today? Thank you.
My name is John Apostolic, and I'm a resident of Pembroke Fairways at 32200 Summer Tree Circle, which is, I guess, near where this lady is from, the front part of the community. And I'm for growth and for expansion and for making the town and the city better, but I guess I'm in unincorporated Leesburg, so kind of like under the county, but the only opportunity I had, because I wasn't notified like I was in the January for the Crossings at 44 program or project, I wasn't notified, so I found the planning commission meeting on Lake TV. And one of the things that I'm concerned about, yes, we do need to do something about traffic and a light, but not everyone, a small minority in Pembroke Fairways, I estimate between 25 and 30 houses, stands to be really negatively affected by the traffic light if some type of mitigation doesn't take place for the noise that it's going to create. There's a lot of homes right along 44 that with lanais and, nice gardens around the house and all that, and it's a 55-plus community. So I'm hoping that a compromise can be made. I was thinking that there's ways, because there is a road called Alibrandi Road there, and there's also open land on the other side, to the eastern side of Pembroke Fairways, where a traffic light could be put in such a spot that would allow people from Pembroke Fairways to come in and out and still have a light to go to, rather than having to go through a U-turn up 50 yards up the road. But it could possibly be placed at a point where it's not right in front of our community where most of the houses are. The other thing that I was thinking, and I hope that would be considered, is if that can't be considered, I'm hoping that LPG and the client or the company, Village Palms, would consider possibly some noise mitigation for us, because we're directly affected by this, and we want to be good neighbors. At least everyone I've talked to, we want to be good neighbors, but there are a small minority of homes up in front there that are going to be negatively affected with noise. There's lots of truck traffic there. There's lots of motorcycle traffic, and if you live up front, it's a common thing to be hearing music from vehicles that have, special audio systems set up. So I'm hoping that that can be considered, and particularly the planner and the developer to do something to maybe help the houses up front in Pembroke. That's all.
My name is Beth Crouch Payne. I live at 308 Westwood Drive in Pembroke Fairways. I'm a little bit unique with most of the people here. I grew up right here. I was born on Main Street in Leesburg. I lived out in 44 in Bamboo, which is about a mile into Sumter County. So I have seen all of this growth. I was also a mail carrier in Leesburg for 30 years. Okay? So all the mail for this new development is going to come from the Lady Lake Post Office, or is it going to be contract carriers coming out of the Leesburg Post Office? I'm a union member, plain and simple. I have a couple of concerns. The traffic out on 44 is insane. I can remember when it was a 2-lane highway and I could ride a bicycle from Leesburg to Wildwood and not be afraid. Every time I pull out of the driveway at Pembroke Fairways and have to go 50 feet down the road and make a U-turn to come back into Leesburg, I take my life in my own hands. 55 is not what they do out there. It's 70 miles an hour. Multiple accidents have been out in front of my brother-in-law's property, which is just over the Sumter County line. I just don't see, unless you insist on something being done, that we can live with this. I used to live on North Lake Avenue in Leesburg. That big new development that went up there, Lake Griffin Reserve, that builder was not held to account, and our house is flooded. That's why I sold my house there and moved to Pembroke, thinking that here I would not be subjected to that type of development. But you, as our city representatives, it's up to y'all to make sure that the developer is held to the line to make sure that all of these concerns are taken into effect. Thank you.
My name is Mike Tyson. I live at 406 Grand Vista Trail, Leesburg, which is also the Pembroke subdivision. I don't want to rehash a lot of the things that these people said, but I just want to thank all of you from Pembroke for coming out here to show your concern. I don't want to tell you people what to do. We don't mind a development. You know that we're here because we're concerned of safety, because it is a mess getting out of Pembroke, and 44 is a mess to drive on, and it's not really that safe. So I'm not going to tell you I want a red light right in front of our intersection. That's what you guys do for planning. But I do have I'm concerned to the fact that you say, you know, it's up to the state to do that, and you wash your hands, I can't say nothing to do it. I would think that you gentlemen can put some pressure on the state. I think we can put some pressure on the state, because I plan on doing it, to let them know what I think. And to just say, okay, we might get a light, we may not, that really doesn't set too good for me. I would like some more planning and thinking about this, because on Whitney Road, just like the gentleman said earlier, there is a subdivision that started out, no, it's on Lewis Road. And it just stopped. But it is going to be developed. So that's going to be more traffic. So we got concerns coming out of Pembroke and the traffic that is going to be coming down Whitney Road to get onto 44. So our biggest concern is safety. And the other things that everybody else said is just a total development of how this impacts the city, the citizens, and everything 25, 30 years down the road. So that's all I got to say.
All right. Did you have another comment, Mr. Rankin?
Quickly. I've got about 12 comments that, of my understanding, these will all be addressed at the second and final read. And I am not an attorney. I didn't even sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, but I know not everybody set up to get sworn in to be, so I want to make sure they're protected when they didn't swear in tonight.
Right. Grant, could you comment to that?
Yeah, I think, again, for purposes of this particular hearing, I think that the concerns were heard. There were a couple of folks who were sworn in. You know, again, this is not the final hearing, so there will be a final hearing where a final vote and a final decision is made on the particular application. So I think for purposes of tonight, that's probably okay, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. All right. So we will have a second reading on this. You said the 12th?
Yes, sir.
February the 12th. Just a couple months away.
And the developer, we need to make a motion to transmit this to state for review. 6B2.
Yes, the zoning.
Yes, sir.
Can we have a second on that?
Second.
Roll call.
Where am I here? Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Reisman?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Burry?
Yes. What we just voted on, we're going to send the plan to the state. The state has to approve anything that happens, so it's not us approving it before we're sending it to the state. We just are sending it to the state with that motion. All right. So let's move on. Someone please introduce 6B4.
Introduced and asked to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, amending the City Code of Ordinances by modifying Chapter 7, Article 2, Building Standards, and Chapter 10, Article 2, Fire Protection and Prevention, to conform with revised Florida Building Code, 8th edition, 2023, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve.
First reading.
Oh, is that one for? Okay. Okay.
First reading.
It's just we got to read that twice.
Yeah, it'll come back on different days.
That will be on a second reading, January the 8th. Moving on to non-routine items, there are none. We'll go to informational reports, that are none. City attorney items.
I don't have any items this evening. Just wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and look forward to seeing everybody when we get back around next year.
City manager items.
Two quick items for you. I sent the commission a email, I believe, in the last week. We got information. I guess several meetings ago, the commission approved the concept of the school zone cameras. The next part of that process was to do an RFP to seek a vendor who would then install the cameras. I think we have about 8 different schools roughly in town that would get these cameras to issue speeding tickets to when the warning lights were on. About half of the schools were in road jurisdictions that were either managed by the county or the state, and we would ultimately need to seek county approval to put school lights or school cameras in those rights of ways. City of Eustis recently doing the same project, pretty much the same exact way. They went before the Board of County Commissioners, and the Board of County Commissioners denied them the right to put up the cameras for various different reasons by a 3-2 vote. The City of Eustis is now kind of trying to figure out how they're going to move along with monitoring speed in school zones. The concept of putting the cameras on private property is where they're kind of considering. In short, I think this kind of puts a little bit of a wrench in our plan. The next step for us was to go before the county commission and seek approval. Off the top of my head, the schools in effect, there's Leesburg High School, Carver Middle, Oak Park, and Leesburg Elementary. All within will need county approval. So my suggestion is we just probably need to let this be in abeyance until we can get approval from the county or the political scene changes. So I just wanted to provide you that update, that report. You discussed it publicly, so I thought it needed to come back to the body. The second issue is Pine Street. You had heard some concerns when we started this. Some of the concerns have continued, and you recently received an email, I believe last week, which I went out and saw the business owners, and as well as Cliff. So I wanted to ask permission to solve these some of their issues in a couple of different ways. Some that I thought were within my authority I've already moved forward with. The ones that I've moved forward with is signage is an important thing. There's a temporary blue sign that typically goes with construction zones that show detours and what businesses are still open. We are currently working on making those signs. We hope to get those signs up ASAP, and they're essentially the blue signs. They'll have the business name, they'll have some detours, and they'll bring the business traffic around to the rear where the CDC CDC parking lot is now usable. We also did some work and doing some work to light in a temporary capacity the CDC parking lot. The CDC parking lot is, as you guys know, it's logistically next to these businesses, behind them, so they still have reasonable access. It just needs the signing. It needs the temporary lighting. The construction plans call for permanent lighting, but obviously it gets dark early these days, so we're getting some temporary lighting up there to help out the folks. There's also some temporary sidewalks that we put in to bridge the gap between the parking lot and the sidewalk on Pine Street. So those are the three things that were within my authority that we have done or already doing. One other thing, it's one, but it has two parts, that I would like to ask the commission approval to do is on solid waste. It's my opinion that we should waive solid waste fees during the construction of the project. The reason is that basically one business had a dumpster. That dumpster now has been relocated to the CDC parking lot. So it's now centrally located. So that dumpster is a little bit now harder for that business to dump their trash. And because of its now central location, because we couldn't pick it up behind the business, we've got all sorts of people dumping trash in it. Other businesses, contractors, we're making it harder for that business to throw away their trash. They're paying the freight on that can. So I think a reasonable accommodation is to go ahead and pay for the trash service, which is de minimis to the city while the project is under construction. The next thing, too, is there's about 6 businesses that are affected there, too. I'm not asking to waive the utility fees, but I am asking the commission to give me authority to go ahead and put water, sewer, electric, gas bills in abeyance. The businesses may or may not choose to do that, but essentially, as we did, we just passed a resolution to suspend no late fees, no disconnects. But in this case, because I think it's a reasonable accommodation, is to go ahead and not turn off or not have the businesses pay immediately if they do have some lower traffic. But at the end of the day, we'll work out a payment plan once construction is over, where those are then paid back to us. Again, I don't think this will be a significant number as we just dealt with. So I think these solutions all together are reasonable accommodations you can provide those businesses. And we've got about hopefully 4 months on schedule, but hopefully we get it knocked out a little bit quicker. So with your direction or some consensus, I'll see that these changes are made.
Comments?
I have several. On the waiving of the solid waste, is that for all 6 businesses or one?
It's just one business because we had one dumpster that was behind Cotton Kitchen, and it was her dumpster, and it was immediately behind Cotton Kitchen. And so when it was located behind her business, she was the only one who threw trash in it. We can't pick that can up now because of construction, so we relocated it into a central location. So that's about 3 businesses down from her. So now instead of just her throwing trash in that can, we've got all sorts of businesses and our own construction folks throwing trash in that can. So that's why I suggest that we stop that payment until we can relocate that can back behind her business.
So it's just one business on waiving of the solid waste. The other businesses would continue to pay their solid waste?
If they have that service, correct.
Okay. And as far as the utility bills go, the ones who ask to not pay their utility bills until April or whenever the road's done, are we going to have a written agreement up front before we do this? They sign agreeing to the terms of how they're going to pay us back, time frame they're going to pay us back on, percentage they're going to pay us back each month?
If you'd like us to put together a written agreement, we can do that. I hadn't anticipated that. I'm not sure if even the businesses will take on to this, but if your qualification is to put together an agreement, we can certainly do that.
I think we should have an agreement in place with a time frame and how percentage-wise they're going to pay us back over, say, a 12-month period or however. And so there's no misunderstanding at the end of the terms that, well, I didn't realize it was going to be that much. I mean, I can only pay $20 a month and just drag it out for 5 years. I think an agreement should be in place up front, how they're going to pay us back percentage-wise over length of time, and if they don't want to sign it, then they can just continue to pay the utility bill.
And is the term, your max term, you're looking like 12 months?
I wouldn't like to go over more 12 months.
Okay.
From the finish of the construction.
Right, from the finish of construction.
Yes.
Yeah, we can put that together.
I have a question to add. Are all the businesses requesting assistance, or just the one business that we know of, Cotton's Kitchen?
In all candor, the businesses are probably going to be seeking remuneration from you, which I have advised that you do not pay that. There's some of the businesses have asked for in a direct financial check for the impact on their business. I think that request is problematic. In my conversation with them, they have asked me about that, and I told them that I would not bring that recommendation to the commission because I don't think that is a reasonable accommodation. And I think that pays a significantly poor precedent, and I'm not a precedent person. So I think the things that we've outlined with signage, with lighting, with the temporary parking, with the waiver of utilities, with the stopping of the solid waste because other folks are doing, I think those are all reasonable accommodations. They have not asked for those things. They went directly to the money. And I said I didn't think that the commission would sign off on that, and that is not a reasonable accommodation if we have these other things in place.
Okay. My concern is, are all of these businesses lucrative as far as having actual service being provided? I know the 327th Street is vacant. The 323, the Pine Street Lounge, that would be open, I would assume, at nighttime. That's how it was before. So I guess my concern is, if all have requested, I just know of one business that have requested, but I'm in agreement that putting something in writing so that everyone would be responsible. So going forward for other businesses that this will happen when we have road construction, it's understood and we can expect to accommodate in the same way, just to be above board.
I think every case is different.
Yes.
In this particular case, I think it's a little. In this particular case, I think these things provide those businesses a reasonable accommodation. Okay. What makes this different is that those businesses are closed off from the front for that entire block. But we have worked to provide access and signage from the back. So I think every case is different. I think these are reasonable accommodations, and I think the notice of a written agreement, if they choose to hold off on their utilities, is a reasonable request from the commission. No, I think just.
Yeah, going back to the cameras, was there any comment on the camera? Everybody's good with.
And everybody is good on the Pine Street things with the reasonable accommodations I provided.
Yes.
The waiver of the solid waste, and if they choose to do the agreement, then it's a 24-month payback, and we get it in
12 months.
12 months. I'm sorry.
And
12-month payback
at the end of construction.
12-month payback at the end of construction.
And they'll sign that agreement.
They sign the agreement.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. And if we get takers on that, obviously Grant and I will work on putting that agreement together, and we'll get those agreements out to you so you know who chimed in.
Do we need to have a motion for the amended consent?
I think the consensus will get it done.
Do we have some comment? Please come up.
How y'all doing? I'm Athea Lindsay. I'm the owner of Cotton's Kitchen. I do appreciate, with the dumpster and with the signage and stuff like that. You're talking about the electric bill. I'm the restaurant on Pine Street, so I'm the only one there full time. That is my business. That is my livelihood. My electric bill run anywhere from $1,300 to $1,800 a month. Yes, altogether, that is my electric bill. It's gonna pile up on me. I'm very slow right now because of the road construction. I had one customer. My sales were $20, $19 and some change. Yes, I did ask for financial compensation for this because I lost a lot of business. Not only this, I lost my employees. I'm literally running that business by myself. I had to modify my hours because my employees left me, because if nothing is coming in, I can't afford to pay them. So I had to modify my hours from 11 to 5 p.m. just so I can run it by myself. That is cooking, that is washing dishes, that is taking orders from the register, at the register, that's fixing plates. I have people that dine in. I have to clean the dining room. I have to sweep and mop the floors. Every now and then somebody might check in and stop in and check on me to see if I need some help, free of labor, because I can't afford to pay anybody. So that's really all I want to say. I'm not looking for any handouts, but I am the only one down there that's there full-time. All the other business owners, they have full-time jobs. I'm the only one that's there every day. Even on my days off, I'm there because I have to be there. What I can't do Wednesday through Sunday, I got to come back in Monday and Tuesday to complete a task. Even if it's just, I might not have time, I'm tired. Sunday, I'm trying to get out of there. So Monday morning, I'm gonna go back in there and I wanna sweep and mop my floors because again, it's just me. So yes, this has really, really hit me hard. I have a bunch of customers that come from the villages. I call them my villagers. I have not seen not one of those villagers since that construction has started. Not one, because they're older. They can't maneuver around all that construction. There's no way for them to get up there with their walkers and their wheelchairs and all of that. A lot of my customers get dropped off right in front of the door. I have a lot of senior citizen customers, not just in the villages, not just white, not just black. I have a lot of people. People come and see me, and because of this construction, I have not seen half of my regulars. So that's really all I got to say. But I do appreciate, what you are doing. But as far as that utility bill, my utility bill is almost $2,000 sometimes a month. That's just what it is. It's gonna pile up on me. And then I got to keep, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So if it's something else that you can come up with, I did talk to Mr. Al. I did ask him about a financial compensation because I know how my business is run and how I stay afloat and how I keep my doors open. So I just want you to consider that, and thank you for your time. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. All right, okay.
I have one question.
Yes.
So is she asking longer than 12 months that we should put in the
she's asking just for cash payment.
Cash payment only, not extending of the time.
Right.
Okay.
She wants cash.
Okay.
Any other comments from Al? Roll call.
Commissioner Reisman.
I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
Commissioner Cuneo.
My turn?
Yep.
This way.
Yeah, I'm going this way.
I don't have anything tonight.
Commissioner Berry.
Yes, I have a few things, please. I'd like to bring forward, as it relates to the agenda from the last meeting on December 11th for District 1. First, as a reminder that we're here for the city of Leesburg. That's our sole purpose. So keeping that in mind, we must work together. There was an agenda item on the vote for district that I was not ready to have it on the consent agenda, and I was not comfortable with and had questions concerning. And I asked that it be removed from the agenda, but it was not. Instead, it was moved under a combined consent, and I voted on it. I missed it. And I just want to ask that going forward, for the record, was a resolution that was sent early on for city adopted resolution. I think it was 11-327 earlier, stating what would be coming down for the fiscal year for 2023 and 24. I'm just asking in the future, I would respectfully request to be given and shown all privileges and rights as a commissioner, and if there are any concerns about this, I'd like to discuss further. I'd also like to request when an agenda item, and I have my notes here, come up for me or any commissioner, all questions and concerns are allowed before moving forward with combining the vote. And again, I missed this because I thought it was removed, but just going forward, I just like to be considered so that this doesn't happen again. And I would expect that any other commissioner would have the same opportunity to pull anything and have that option. And I know that this won't happen again, but just in case, I just ask that I be considered. And the second note I'd like to add, is it possible that we can request to have one meeting in December for 2024?
It's actually a charter issue.
It's a charter issue. We have to have two a month.
Okay. Well, with that said, the lighter note, Merry Christmas, everyone, and thank you.
Commissioner Peterson.
Nothing except Merry Christmas and everybody be safe.
Mayor Burry.
Yeah, so this winds me up. Serving as mayor has been a pleasure here for the city of Leesburg. Ma'am, did you?
Can we ask a question? Could you tell us where this restaurant this lady has so we could send some people we know to go help be customers for her?
305 Pine Street.
Which is accessible off Child Street right now.
Right.
So what was 305 Pine
Street?
305 Pine Street. But to get there, if you're coming from Pembroke, you're going to go down 27, take a left on Dixie, okay, and then take a left on Childs, and then you'll see the parking lot that's marked, which will be right before you get to Child Street into construction. So you kind of pull off into that parking lot, follow the sidewalk around to Pine Street, and then go left, and then you'll get to
Where you see the road
business.
construction on Pine Street, she is directly across from the swimming pool. So,
What's the name of her business again?
Cotton's Kitchen.
We have a lot of people who eat out, and maybe we could help her out.
That sounds great. So it's been a pleasure serving as mayor for you guys. I think we got a lot done, and Merry Christmas to everyone. That's all I got tonight. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We're done.